if I could
relationship goals top to bottom.
exactly, if I could put I was gonna say a nickel
Show
on the
me
table. I'm like,
chemistry.
give me this or I don't want it in a relationship,
Yeah.
dude.
No, I'm not
And
gonna say
and
it's one of they are the best 1930s.
and it's the
couple
scene
in movies.
behind.
Yeah.
If I can
It's
start,
only Howard Hawks does better relationships, but that's a little later.
Yeah.
no, it's the scene behind Scott where she says, "That's where I was like, okay." She says, "How many drinks is that for you?" He says, "This is my sixth martini." She goes, "Okay," because the guy brings them one, and she goes, "Line up 5 more right here." And I said, "All right,
That's it.
And then the next thing you see
that's who
is
I want to marry."
Yeah,
God
she's
damn
my
it!
dream girl. And
Okay.
Ice bag on her head.
absolutely adorable too.
You
Those
guys have
eyebrows.
heard me. You guys have heard me go run off at the mouth repeatedly over the past 5 or 6 years about I give a lot of credit to movies that did something first.
Mhm.
And I was thinking about this movie and the context of everything that came in its wake, going like moonlighting, blah 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 blah. Was this the? I mean, this is 1936.
No, 34, I think.
Okay, tell me a movie earlier than this.
This is
that
like pre-code.
relationship between
Yeah, this is
two
pre-code.
Still
people.
pre-code, this one. Yeah.
This and they're really fucking
At
around.
least the last year
Oh.
too.
It was the last year.
Last
the
year,
last
the last
year.
year the code, and it was also the 1 year after the end of Prohibition.
Yeah.
So
You
it's
can
like,
just see they're just like,
White Lord.
they're pushing. Like, can we push on this and get away with it? Can we push on that and get away with it?
I bet
But
they wanted to have one bed, and they just
The
drew the line
dynamic
there.
between these two,
The
is
PCA,
so
the production
contemporary.
code, which was a different thing, still said you had to have 2 beds.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the relationship dynamic between these two feels so contemporary, and this movie was
know.
100
Oh,
years
yeah.
I know.
well, I'm going
It's
to tell you
amazing.
that I think Chris,
They're
this
so
may
funny.
be at least in American cinema the first, because you couldn't have relationships like this in silent films because I don't think it would conveyed so much.
No.
So much is verbal in this. The way the wordplay, the back and
It's
forth.
very
oh my God.
wordy
They're
script.
ball
They
busting.
rib each other all the time. They
I know.
jab each
And
other.
That's ball busting.
Because you
Yeah,
had the freedom in talkies to be able to do stuff like that and be physical. You know, they're always hitting
And
and
they're-
slapping each other. It's great.
And I love
Yeah.
how they're both like these lushes and they tease each other about it. And
yeah.
like I love the line where the guy comes over and he goes like, "You want a drink?" And he says, "No, thank you." He says, "Well, that's too bad," or something like that. He's like, it's
Well,
like,
and that's the scene with the lawyer. And as that scene goes on, he gets the phone call, and there's so many good gags about phone calls in this movie.
There are.
yeah,
too.
yeah.
But he gets, because he's like, "Oh, it's for you," after she's picked up the phone because he's on the other
Yeah, that's
line.
right.
And then they're talking, or then he's talking on the phone, and that's in the foreground, and then them in the background are just doing fucking hand stuff.
Yeah,
With
he's
each
like
other.
hitting her and stuff,
That's great.
and then he's like, "Stop it, stop it."
There's
Yeah,
also
there's
the,
so-
the-
So one of the better lines about the phone is her brother comes out.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, "Were you listening on the other extension?" Of course. Why do you think
He
we
goes, "What
have
are
it?
extensions for?"
yeah, yeah.
and also it's a throwaway, but that the one of Nick's old henchman is on the phone to long distance in San Francisco talking to his mother.
Oh,
Oh,
That
the
was
crying
so-
guy.
I just going back to him, mom, like, "Mama," that's great.
That phone call cost him so much
I
money.
know it was
He's
so.
the he's the guy that gets drunk and sad at the party.
No, station to station, New York to San Francisco in the 30s. The bike cost a house, basically.
He's I love when he's crying and he's like, "Oh, are you having a good time?" "No." "Okay." Like, and he hands him another drink, keeps going. Like,
Yeah, these two are amazing. I had never seen this. I know. I mean, I
Oh
knew,
God,
yeah.
no! I mean,
Oh wow.
I had never seen this. I knew it by reputation, and I'm a big fan of William Powell because of my man Godfrey.
Yeah.
My man Godfrey is one of my favorites, and this
He's
did not
also
disappoint.
good in Lieutenant Roberts,
I'll check it out.
which is
But yeah,
close.
I thought
he
these two were
sings the same
fantastic.
song.
Those three were fantastic.
And
He sing-
Asta.
Yeah, love Asta.
He sings
the
the
dog.
same song in this movie as in My Man Godfrey. Also,
Uh-huh.
it's
Oh.
the same verse from the same song.
Was that before
which I
this
think is-
though?
Godfrey is, I think, the year before this.
I'll have to look it up.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
But
again,
this
it's
is incredible.
crazy how again, as it, you guys know me in old timey movies. This one feels so flippin' contemporary.
Well, and this one
Yeah.
has this
'Cause
one has
they
this,
respect each other.
well, and this one has much
Yeah.
more of a plot than
Yeah, they're
Notorious, by the way.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't
And-
even care about the
This
plot.
has
It's about their
this has
dynamic.
most this has most plot.
And, you know,
This has
Yeah,
so
it
much
has
plot.
most plot.
This is the
Well,
tons
this
plot.
is like one part Agatha Christie, one part Columbo, like one
Yeah.
part, it's like all these cool things all wrapped together. and it's so enjoyable and hilarious.
But
I love how he keeps trying. I love how he keeps trying to get out of being involved in it. Too.
yeah.
And it
Right.
Just to become
progressively
more
is
involved in it.
Are you on the
more and
case?
more
I'm not
annoying.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think she wants him to be like a detective, mostly because
She really wants him to be on the
But-
case.
Yeah,
and
she
then
likes
towards
it.
the
She-
I
end,
think
she
mostly because
doesn't
she's
want him to
bored.
be.
She's having fun.
Yeah.
You know, let's do this. It'd be kind of the fun thing to do.
I would say that I give Nick and Nora an A, but I think I would give the mystery like a B minus.
Yeah,
honestly.
maybe
There's
worse.
There's a
This
couple of
movie's
things
not
wrong
about-
with it.
this
Okay,
movie's
go
not
ahead,
about the
John.
fucking
John,
mystery.
take your corner.
Yeah, it's just like the last one. It's not about the plot. It's about
Well,
them.
I know, but then why is there so much of it? There's so much.
There's a lot of it.
There is a lot.
Here's my
Dashiell
thing.
Hammett wrote this.
Yeah, I guess that's.
Yeah, Dashiell Hammett was big on plots.
So there's too many characters, and you need to know their names because there's a lot of this that takes place in dialogue where they say, "Well, so and so did this, and then
Yeah.
they did this," and I'm going, "Okay, wait a minute, who is that? Oh, okay, yeah.
You need
So I'm
one of
putting-
those little trees.
But
I
there were
needed
a few clever things.
flow
There were
chart.
a few clever things.
No, I mean overall, it wins because of Nick and Nora. It's like
But some of those
Well,
characters,
and it
are
wins
great.
because of that dinner
Police
scene where he
lieutenant-
breaks it down.
The dinner scene was
Police
Yeah.
lieutenant and the two small-time crooks and the wife of one of the crooks, or the girlfriend,
oh yeah, that's fun
like
stuff.
throws the pan at him.
Yeah.
One of my favorite gags in the movie is all of that goes down. He goes out the window.
Yeah.
The fucking the cops getting on the phone. He just reaches over and takes the shot that the guy had poured and drinks it.
Yeah.
He's like, "Ugh!"
You're
I
right.
know.
Like it's just fucking rot gut liver.
I know. It's like you got.
And
But he's still drank.
There's a lot of
But
like
he's still
physical.
drunk.
Well, there's a lot of physical things in this movie that you don't expect to be in a movie this old. Like,
Yeah.
like when he gets shot at in their bedroom and he does hit his wife to save her.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Yes. But like, I didn't like. There are certain parts in this movie where I'm like, oh, they went there. Holy
Yeah.
shit!
Mhm.
Well,
Where I was like,
she-
they're not going to
she
go there,
took-
and then they do,
she
and then the guy
took-
jumps and he jumps on him and he fights him.
I read
Yeah.
you were shot 5 times in the tabloids. Not true. He didn't come anywhere near my tabloids.
Yeah, it was a great line.
She took that pratfall at the beginning with the dog and the presents.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
her in that outfit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they
Going
didn't
to-
use a stunt woman or anything.
Yeah.
She did that herself.
straight on
which
the floor of the soundstage, man.
It looks like he really hit her too.
No,
Oh,
that
no.
scene is sped up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
both.
It's sped up.
Both. There's two shots that are sped up. When he jumps on the guy, it's sped up too.
Uh-huh.
But if you actually watch it, he doesn't. It's a really. He doesn't even come close to her.
Really.
But the timing is pretty good. So
Yeah.
she sells it when she goes down.
Well, it's also. I think that's
it's kind of like
was it-
theater.
The
Really.
whole, that was a trope thing where, like, in the 30s, you could knock someone out by, like, just basically just give him a heavy.
It's in the
slap.
last movie too when she's drunk in the car and
Yeah.
Cary Grant. He just moves in front of the camera so you can't see what
Yeah.
he's doing, and then when he's done, she's out.
I think he kind of
Yeah,
like strangles her. Yeah. Or like, yeah.
What did he
Right.
do? Pop her on the head.
Although Judith said, "Hey, he punched her."
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah,
guess he did.
I mean, she was really drunk, so maybe that helped.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
how many
right.
people does James Bond do this to? And then
Yeah,
they're
I know, right?
out?
Exactly. Yeah, it's the same trope.
Karate chop.
Mhm.
There's nothing. These movies are both fantastic. I mean, what are we gonna say?
That's the thing. I mean, well, and again, it's so bizarre to me how much this movie gets away with for 1930 whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was the last year of getting away with shit.
Mhm.
You should
Yeah.
you
Watch
should
the next
really
one,
watch
man.
some movies from the late 20s, some
Uh-huh.
silence, because
Oh,
they
yeah.
were getting away with even more. Even Freaks. If you watch Freaks,
Oh boy.
there's a whole
That's
scene.
been on my short list for years.
Mhm.
There's a whole scene where this guy who's like a clown is in a bathtub, and you think he's taking a bath, and this woman comes in and she has this whole scene with him, and then he finally stands up and he's fully clothed. And the bathtub doesn't have a bottom on it because he's actually working on a prop for one of the scenes in the circus.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that after
They
the
just got away with a lot.
after the Thin Man is a lot more chaste. Although their chemistry was still good in that. That
The
Well, that's-
chemistry, those two movies are still pretty good. The final three are kind of
They're
Yeah,
both
Well,
so
the-
charming.
The theme this week, I think, is chemistry.
it is.
Yeah.
Not bad.
It sure is.
Really?
These guys had a hell of a lot of chemistry. Some
But
of
the
these
other
people-
thing
These
they
two
do.
especially.
It's chemistry And the other theme for me is making Chris watch good black and white movies.
Yeah, right.
Yay!
Yeah,
Yay.
I cannot fault you. These two were extremely entertaining, and
There are a lot of crummy
Did-
black and white movies, so it's a good.
well, I mean, again, like 30s and 40s movies. I mean, I sometimes have a real hard time with, but for whatever, like for both of these,
Well,
just not.
I mean,
the
it
line
helps
readings
that
are
it was a
better. The
Dashiell
line readings are
Hammett
better.
story.
The pacing is better. The dynamic between the leads is
Yeah.
better.
yeah.
So this
I also-
this movie,
it's not just the chemistry between them. It's like even the policeman and
Oh, he's great.
have some chemistry.
What was that
you
detective's
know?
name? Was it like Clancy or something? I can't remember.
He's such a palooka. He's
He is
just like
palooka.
got that
No,
big
he-
jaw.
The mom,
He's
the wife. She
He's
was
got the
good too.
lantern jaw and those little eyes. He's a
You know
great.
what he reminds me of? Bigfoot Bjornsson from Inherent Vice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is the first of that.
He is sort of like
Big
that guy.
lunky cop type,
Yeah.
But he looks like Josh Brolin a little bit.
but everybody in this movie, all the characters in this movie, like, because you have like the dude who's missing the teeth at the party,
Oh,
and
God.
then later on he's having the conversation with the boxer, and he's like, "Oh, you think you can fight?" And the
Yeah.
boxer's promoter like jaws back at him, and he's like, "Ah, what do you think?" Like,
Oh yeah.
All the party
great
guests were.
characters.
They are. All the party guests were even going for it.
Well,
Like
They're like
every
Dave
single player
Ferrari
in this
characters.
movie is like not phoning it in. They're 100% committed.
Yeah.
100%.
Even the bit players, it's really great.
Oh, the,
Wait,
co-
what was-
the cops when they're dressing up like the fucking waiters,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
They're
they
like-
have a good scene.
But
Right.
even the waiters are
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, and it was all, don't worry, they're not going to serve. You are. They're just going to be here.
Yeah.
Because even the waiters
They're
are like,
for
what the
muscle.
fuck, dude?
I
Like,
know, it's crazy. But also,
and
it's
then,
great
one of,
because
and then one of them is like, "You want a drink?"
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
No, have a cocktail. I don't want one.
Have
You
a
have a
cocktail.
cocktail. Like,
Have a cocktail.
I was a little bit lost during the big party scene with all the weird characters because I didn't know what its purpose was. So
It was just a
is
Christmas party.
Is it to show us that Nick and Nora have a high tolerance for odd people, or
Yeah, well, they're
every
socialites.
single
Well, there's
person,
a-
the guy
there's a
phoning
couple-
his mother and all the rest of
Or
it?
the
It's
second
Nick-
film.
They have a high
Yeah.
tolerance for booze.
She
It's-
comes from
it's-
like an upper
Yeah, because she
class
says, she has that line, she says, you have a lot of friends or something like that, right? Or
Right.
you have.
Yeah.
Oh, so
you have
it's
such
taken
interesting
specific.
friends, she says
Right,
at one point.
Because she's not from New York; she's from the West Coast,
San Francisco, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
and so these are his New York friends
Right.
who
right.
he's
But they're like-
invited to this
They've,
party.
they've,
Most of
they've
them
become
are
socialites
below
of sorts.
Well, that's
and-
part of it.
and-
The other part is what you talked about. This is also a kind of a contrast of like, kind of like the upper crust and the
Right.
lower crust.
Yeah.
Like a lot. That's the whole thing with drinking that booze and like.
Well, he's
Like,
because he's
but,
retired, so
the-
he's
at
this
the
is just what
end-
they're doing now.
at the end, you
Because
have
her
all
family
these-
has a fat inheritance; they don't have to work.
As he tells somebody, somebody has to watch her money for her.
Right,
Right,
And
right.
at the end, at the dinner party, it's like an interesting contrast because a lot of basically low lives at that table, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
something like that. But serve from the left, everything is just perfect on the table.
Right.
It's the socialites layout, Everybody had a place card. I'll remove the candles before the meal, kind of thing. So
Right,
there's
yeah,
these
yeah.
rituals
Hey,
going
could you
on.
stop? Could you stop holding your knife like that?
Yes, yeah.
You're
Pretty
making her
much.
nervous.
But it's like a butter knife.
Boy,
You're making me nervous.
After this, she says after this dinner is over, I'm going to check to see I'm going to count the knives, see if there's one not sticking in your back.
Yeah. Great lines.
But it was
Great
like
lines.
that whole class consciousness thing was going on there too, which is kind of
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Well,
they
she
already
fell- she
did a
fell
lot
in
of
love with-
depression.
She fell in love with him for his brains, and he fell in love with her for her brains.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
it's such a wonderful relation. That's why it feels so modern. Which
That's right.
What Chris is talking
Yeah.
about
Mhm.
is like these are two people who are intellectual equals who respect the hell out
and
of
they,
each
That's
and they
other.
have
very
they have
Right.
like extreme wit with each
Right.
other, like with the
They-
world,
they
with
are.
each
They're
other,
sort of-
and
Wildly in wit.
yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, back then in the 30s,
And
you
there's
had to
also
make,
the thing,
you had
it
to make
doesn't
them
come
eat.
out in this one so much, but in the book it does, that Nick is Greek, of Greek
Oh
descent.
yeah, that's right.
Oh.
So
Oh,
he's
yeah.
also got this ethnic sort of shadiness going on.
But
as well.
because the 30s were the 30s, you had to express this kind of equality by having her be rich and him
Yeah.
being like this experienced gumshoe or whatever. So he's got the brains and she's got the brains, but the money equals them out. So that's
Yeah.
how
Well,
that
and she would be she would not be a catch for a lot of men in her social standing.
Absolutely not.
Because she could stand up for herself. Because she
They
was
probably thought she was
smarter.
too mouthy or something like that.
But she's
Yeah,
absolutely
right.
beautiful, though. She's
Oh.
a catch no matter what.
Yeah, no
But,
argument, man.
But
No
that's
argument.
but that's
kidding.
not the way people think in that kind of society.
True.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter
Yeah.
how pretty she is, you can't slap that mouth out of her.
No,
Like,
No.
yeah, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what's going on here.
Right.
So by her going outside of her social circle to find this guy to have, get married, these guys.
Oh yeah, it takes
are
another
beautiful
mouth
people.
to marry her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
who is also very intelligent, who is
Right.
capable
Yeah.
of running all of these businesses as well,
Right.
like, and continuing the profitable enterprises despite the fact that he didn't go to college, that he didn't, get to
Yeah.
do all of these other things that she would have, and a lot of people in her social circle would have
Right.
been able to do. I love the part where he's like, what do you know about bookkeeping? And he's like, oh, I learned in Sing Sing so I could get a job.
Right when I got out.
Remember when we used to train people to do shit in jail instead of just
Yeah.
fucking
I
locking
know, that was-
people in
those
jail
were
for the
days.
rest of their lives?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm.
A little different. All right. Well, do you maybe have a
I want to bring
Take it.
up one thing.
Take it.
So the reason I picked this movie specifically is because this is one of the movies that made me fall in love with movies.
Oh,
I
wow.
watched this movie for the first time when I was probably 9 or 10 years old. I think probably on the local PBS station. And I think my mom watched it with me. And I didn't get all of the jokes, obviously,
Right.
but like I got a lot of the jokes because they're funny.
But you got the
And,
energy.
like,
You got the
and I got
energy
the
of it.
energy, and I was interested in the story the first time I watched it. I've always liked detective stories and things like that. But there was something about the two of them on screen together that I could not understand when I was that young. But I realized, like, that's love.
Right.
Like, these two people, these two characters are in love with each other, and like,
With like out judgment, by the way.
right,
There is
without
like not judgment.
Yeah.
Like that is so rare to
And-
it's full acceptance.
Like look at the healthy couple. You know what I mean?
And
Yeah.
all of the best relationships I've seen in my life are people like this. People who can wind each other up in a certain way, but also you always know that that person's going to come home to you.
Yeah. Right.
They have your back, your best interest
Uh-huh.
in
Right.
I want to go
And
back to
vice
I want to go
versa.
back to Win-Win a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
That relationship was very healthy, like this one.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Sarcasm, a little ribbing, and it's like they kind of kept each other in check.
But they always come back and say,
They
okay,
always- they always come
we're gonna
back,
get
yeah.
through this.
All right.
Although, much like in the last movie, they're dead 6 months from now, but it's from cirrhosis of the liver.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. These two can't keep drinking like
You
this.
can't keep that pace up,
So
dude. That's
much.
crazy. I mean,
There's that scene where it's like you can't sleep. He says to her, "You can't sleep. I'll make you a drink," and it's like 3:30 in the morning.
yeah.
And it's essentially like
Pouring it.
because I'm up, we're
And
gonna
then he
drink. Like,
I'm awake. We're
And then,
drinking, man.
and then
That's
in
how we're-
another great drink gag, he steals that drink.
Yes, he
Like,
does.
there's-
yeah.
The number of times that
But she even says no, and he says, nope, we're doing it. Like
the part where she goes, "Is that my drink over there?" When they're in the kitchen.
yeah.
Is that
right.
my
He
drink
just-
over
He
there?
goes, yes, it is.
No, she says, "Is it rye?"
Or is it right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, "What is it?" She says, "Is it rye?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's yours."
Yeah, and he finishes it.
Through the empty glass.
So good.
Do you have a
It
quarter?
was fun to watch this again. I hadn't seen it in a really long time.
You know, when when Vicky and I worked at Richmond Adult School, we were known as the Nick and Nora Charles of Richmond Adult
Really?
School,
Oh,
which I
What
took
were
as
they
a nice
drinking?
phrase.
Yeah, that's a nice thing to be called.
It has
Send me a
nothing to
picture,
do with
Jeff.
this, but I can't help but mention there was that indie film in the early 2000s called Nick and Nora's Playlist, which wasn't very good.
Oh,
but it
yeah.
was-
yeah.
but that's just a coincidence.
Had a name.
So
in
they-
it.
Or Jim, was it high praise? Jim, was it high praise, or did you guys just drink a lot?
No, it was high praise. Yeah,
Okay.
because we were witty.
See, they remember the
drunk.
parody of Murder by Death that was played by David Niven and Maggie Smith.
Yeah.
With the Nick and Nora
Wow.
characters. That was pretty funny.
She's great.
Yeah. All right. Are we done?
fucking classic. I wish the other ones were as good. They're not.
Man.
How many are there, by the way? Is it 5?
Five.
Five.
Yeah, go into the 40s.
The first two
Well,
are okay.
I'd never
The
seen it, so
Yeah,
really
after-
happy to see it.
second-
After the Thin Man, Still quite good.